everyone, my name is Dan, this is Exploder, and we're going to take a break from the regular news going on in pro wrestling right now and get into the less savory sides of the business. That's right, I mean Sunny. Yes, she was arrested again. If you're interested, take that clip, save it on your computer, because that's going to be played the same exact way probably 6 months from now. Matter of fact, I might use the same sound clip. With that being in the news, let's take a closer look at Sunny, wrestling's greatest train wreck. Tammy Lynn Sitch started her career as an aspiring medical student who managed her boyfriend Chris Candido in Smoky Mountain Wrestling on weekends, eventually managing the likes of Brian Lee and a pre-Balls Mahoney, Boo Bradley. What started as the weirdest part-time ever eventually led her to a full-time position with the WWF, first as a C-level announcer named Teresa Murphy, and then as a manager for, you guessed it, Chris Candido. It was now the jumping jack bastard we know as Skip. Tammy rechristened Sunny joined Skip to make the Body Donnas, a duo of fitness gurus who mocked opponents for being out of shape, doing jumping jacks, and losing every match this side of Barry Horowitz, who we also lost to. Yes, I'm serious. The two were eventually joined by Tom Pritchard, who went from the Doctor of Love to Zip. Alright. They won the tag team titles, but then again they were up against the Godwins, the New Rockers, and the Twilight Days of the Smoking Guns. And that's the entire division. So like I said, golden age. After that, Sunny would play a gold-digging character who managed the next team to win the tag team titles, from the Body Donnas to the Godwins to the Smoking Guns to Farouk. And not good APA Farouk, or even Nation of Domination Farouk. I mean blue Spartan helmet wearing Farouk. The guy who looked like an outcast from Spartacus, like that guy. Sunny would eventually manage LOD 2000, because why the hell not at this point, before being fired for drugs. Pay attention to that detail, because it's going to come up later. It's going to come up quite a lot. She then joined Chris Candido in ECW as part of the Triple Threat and left in 1999 due to, you guessed it, drugs. See? Told ya. She went to WCW, where her and Candido had a lackluster run before she was released for, wait for it, drugs. Yep, the doper trifecta. After that, she joined the upstanding citizen and gonorrhea patient zero, Missy Hyatt, to start Wrestle Vixens, a website dedicated to combining wrestling and softcore pornography. Rob Black immediately put out a hit on them for stealing his gimmick. Wrestling Vixens included Missy Hyatt, Sunny, and a host of girls that are so memorable I didn't even bother looking them up for this video. I just don't care. In 1996, Sunny was offered big money to pose for Playboy, back when she was hot, long before it became mandatory in the early 2000s, and way before he was required to wear a burqa out in public like it is now, I'm assuming.
PG.
In 1996, at the height of her popularity, being the first WWE diva, she turned down Playboy. Now, in 2000, even though she was deep into a drug problem and she was associated with Missy Hyatt, fans were still curious what she looked like underneath all those skirts. And I'm sad to say, you didn't get 1996 Sunny, you got 2000 Sunny, who looked kind of like the person who would fight 1996 Sunny for looking too pretty around her man at the bar. It wasn't pretty, and neither was she. After an apparent falling out between Sunny and Hyatt, how did those two not get along? Tammy began that dance that many wrestlers go through later in their careers, wavering between indie shows and convention appearances, and then leaving the business entirely for a real job, whatever, quitter. She appeared on indies and all this, and at one point, she actually appeared in Ring of Honor in 2009 for an angle with Austin Aries for some reason, because wrestling. And finally, in 2011, Sunny, who was formerly the most downloaded celebrity on AOL back in the mid-90s, Sunny was inducted into the Hall of Fame. She gave a decent speech and was credited as being the originator of the WWF/WWE Diva. And that was it. She rose to prominence, had her share of setbacks and stumbles, but all in all, things were looking good for Tammy Lynn Sitch. If the story ended there, it had been a good, positive story, Then came the shitstorm. In 2012, Tammy Sitch would be arrested 5 times in a 4-week span. At the time, she was dating an independent wrestler named Damian Darling, who you'll know from being the guy who dated Sunny. That's about it. Charges involved disorderly conduct, third-degree burglary, and violating a protective order put against her by Damian Darling. In January 2013, she got arrested again for violating a protective order against Damian Darling. After this arrest, in 2013, WWE publicly announced they would no longer pay for her rehab, which they had done numerous times prior. To this date, she is the only one that they have severed ties with and stopped paying for the rehab. This is the company that they pay for multiple rehabs, and they cut her off. That should tell you something. Just saying. As soon as they announced they would no longer foot her rehab bill, Sunny came out and was her lovely self, and she complained that A, WWE was only paying for rehab for PR purposes during Linda McMahon's feudal Senate campaign, pick one, and B, that she didn't get a rehab that was as nice as the one they sent Scott Hall to. Yeah, she complained about free rehab. Lassie. After she got done biting that hand, things didn't get better. And now newsflash, who's pinning who? We'll tell ya. Big Show's in-ring contract has expired. The plans now are for him to become an agent. He'll tell the talent what to do, or else. CM Punk might appear at the Cody, sometimes Rhodes, and Young Bucks event All In, marking his first pro wrestling event since 2014. He's already miserable in the locker room. Plans for WrestleMania 34 include the prerequisite Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, John Cena versus The Undertaker for some reason, but Braun Strowman currently doesn't have a match. They plan on just having him tip over the entire stage. Kid Rock has been announced as the newest member of the WWE Hall of Fame. He'll be inducted by a can of chewing tobacco, and his speech will include the phrase "Baw with the Baw" at least once. March 12th marked the 94th birthday of the legendary Mae Young, who passed away a few years ago at the age of 90. She could still beat up half the roster, even the men. And finally, Jeff Hardy was recently arrested for DWI after crashing his car. His blood alcohol content was 3 times the legal limit, whereas they found him based on his tattoos, brightly colored hair, and that his car looked like something out of Mad Max. Well, that's all for Newsflash this time. Let's get back to the show. And that's just the arrests. That's just the arrests so far. In 2014, Tammy Lynn Sitch, former Hot Woman and WWE Hall of Famer, started offering private adult chat sessions on Skype, which I'm sure was the original intention of the founders. For the moderate price of $50, you could have a 10-minute conversation with Sunny where she'd appear topless and chat with you and even do other stuff. Ugh. Yeah, it got that sad. Then there were the cuddling pictures. That's right. At one point, you could pay money to have your picture taken in bed cuddling with the disgraced Hall of Famer. And for a handful of somas, you could sleep with her for real. It's all about your level of commitment. In 2016, Tammy Lynn Sitch decided to change things up a bit and sleep with people not in the wrestling business when she signed on to hardcore pornography for Vivid Video. She appeared in a movie called Sunny Side Up, because they don't know what subtlety is, and it happened. All right, that's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm just going to leave it that way. You don't want to see it. You don't want to think about it. And let me reiterate, you don't want to see it. It's a thing of nightmares. Don't watch it. Even out of curiosity, don't do it. Just please, for the love of God, don't do it. But wait, Sunny's tour of the criminal justice system wasn't done yet. In January 2016, Tammy Lynn Sitch pled guilty to driving under suspension. September of that same year, a full 18 days into her probation, she was arrested for violating parole. This came after 3 DUIs. She stayed in jail, which was really best for everyone, until her arraignment in January 2017. But wait! There's more! On February 27, 2018, the most recent offense, Sitch visited a police station once again with her own personal chaperone. And while there, they found out she was a fugitive of justice for failure to appear in 2 different townships, which were for, say it with me, for DUIs. That brings her up to 5 DUIs, folks. 5. Understand, the Sandman has fewer DUIs than her. Think about that for a second, okay? Just think about that. Oh, and she had a citation for leaving the scene of an accident thrown in for good measure. And that's where we're at today. When it comes to wrestling train wrecks, names like Jake Roberts and Scott Hall usually come to mind. But even they have gone down to Georgia, worked with DDP, and yogaed it out of their system. And they're doing great, and I'm glad to see that. But Tammy Sitch, Sunny, whatever you want to call her, she's not getting her shit together. And I hate to put it that way. And I don't delight in this. It's a funny video. I like doing these things. This is not fun for me. It's, at the end, I'm not looking for her to fail. I wanted to, at the last one, I wanted her to do better. I really did. I was hoping that she would do better and she would sober up. Because the last I heard, she was sober for 90 days. And then she's not. And there's this now. So some people, and I hate to say it, some people never get their shit together for whatever reason. It's like everyone, basically it's everyone this side of Billy Jack Haynes. Billy Jack Haynes is a lunatic. Sunny is approaching his end of the spectrum. And I was hoping she'd come on the Scott Hall and the Jake Roberts side. You know, not perfect, but fixing and working on things. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that. So as of now, she's going to be wrestling's most interesting train wreck because people care what happens to her, I guess. No one cares what happens to Billy Jack Haynes or Virgil. Yeah, that's about it. We don't give a crap about either of them, but we care about Sunny. And I hope that Tammy Sitch, whatever's going on in her head, she's well into her 40s. Whatever's going on in her head right now, I hope she gets it fixed. I hope she gets help, and I just hope that she does what she needs to do to stop this stuff. But I'm not gonna hold my breath. So that's a really odd way to end a comedy podcast about pro wrestling, isn't it? Just thought about that. Wow, that was a downer. Well, I'm still just gonna end it like this. My name is Dan. This is Exploder. And remember, always be yourself. Unless you're Virgil. Don't be Virgil. Have a good one.